Yep, that's one of the recourses that we have for people who are violating the person. Yes.
Mayor, any
for years. And I can remember 30 years ago being a student when Rodney King came out, and I was out there protesting and doing so as well, but I was trying to do so peacefully at the same time. And so that anger has been going on for years, and it's been building and building and building, and it has been spreading. Now, one thing I do enjoy seeing is the rainbow of protesters throughout South Florida and across the country. But what we are seeing across the country happens to be violence. And we don't want it to take it to that degree because we don't want to see more bloodshed. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in, you have been tuning in, you've been watching. I'm joining Alina Machado right now. You've seen Kim Wynn and her reports. You've heard from Willard Shepard. You've heard from Tony Pipitone. You're looking at protests go on until 6 o'clock a.m. across Miami-Dade County. But as you see that anger, as you see, it looks to be a protester right there to the left of your screen talking to the police and just venting out her frustration and anger. And then you see the right of the screen. It looks to be aerial footage right there.
That was from earlier today.
Exactly.
That was before things escalated, and that's what I was talking about, that the protest eventually made its way to that location. You see those two police cars parked there, and apparently what authorities are telling our NBC6 investigator Willard Shepard is that when protesters started getting on top of those police cars, we did see earlier some of them had been vandalized. Things took a different turn very quickly tonight.
Yeah, we've seen police cars lit on fire.
We've seen several vehicles.
Exactly, throughout the night. And that's what I'm talking about. There is a way to protest and show your anger. And listen, I can never justify anyone's anger. I can never take away that anger and that pain and that frustration because I'm angry. I'm upset as a black man, as a father of 3 black men. I'm upset. I'm angry. But at the same time, I want us to be peaceful out there. At the same time, I want us to make sure that we're doing this in the right way. Ladies and gentlemen, there does not need to be more bloodshed out there. And that's right now, we're looking at protests going on across the country. We are ignited by the pain and frustration that we have been feeling for years. But folks, we must do this in a peaceful way. There is a way to protest. There's a way to show your anger and frustration. Because at the end of the day, if we continue to do so, it takes away from the message. If we continue to light things on fire, it takes away from the message of the pain that we are going through. So again, we see these protests going on. This is at Northeast 2nd Avenue and Northeast 4th Street happening here in Miami. If you are just tuning in and you see that, and if you've been watching Alina Machado throughout the evening, you've seen just how violent some of the protests have gotten. If you've seen Kim Wynn's reports, the tear gas, and you've seen just how bad it's gotten in the streets of South Florida. So we're here to walk you through these protests as they continue here throughout the night. We're going to stay here with you and continue to walk you through these protests.
You know, you talked about how the need for peaceful protests is important, and earlier today we saw that. We saw that quite a bit for a very long time, for several hours. Things stayed very calm. I don't know if we can show some of the interviews that we did earlier today.
Yes, we're out here protesting, but this has to keep going. And it's not just the people like, you know, I'm happy to see that all these people here, it's a rainbow coalition of people out here, and I appreciate that because we need people who are not of color to hold our government accountable, and at the same time, we need to hold our community accountable.
All right. And you just heard there from those protesters right there that you were just speaking about, Alina. Now, as you said, we have a team of reporters throughout the streets. But we're going to check in now with NBC6 investigator Tony Pipitone. He is out there in the midst of it all. Tony, what can you tell us about what you're seeing? Tony?
Jamal, we're right here at 4th Street Northeast and 2nd Avenue. And you can see the police are coming in again. Another group of police. What's happened is the protesters were here at this line here on the west side of Northeast 2nd Avenue, and some rocks were being thrown. So the police, bicycle police, started moving them back. And you saw that live earlier as they used the bikes to help draw a line there and hold the line, as they say. Well, now a group of officers with shields has emerged, perhaps because rocks were being thrown from some in this crowd. Some of them landed close to me, some of them landed very close to officers, and you see in the street there, if you look closely, you can see the concrete that hit the road and shattered. I could see it happening from some in the crowd. I'm not saying the people you're seeing right here, but I could see rocks being thrown. And then the officers moved back east. Now let's get a little closer, you can hear what they're saying. So it's the no justice, no peace chant that has really been what we've seen all day today, here and elsewhere around the country. That's what they're protesting. How they're protesting is another matter, and as I said, there were some rocks thrown earlier, and when they did, the police moved in quickly and forcefully and moved them back. One group back a couple blocks, another group back perhaps half a block. You can see where Miami-Dade College downtown campus is right there. I believe that's a federal courthouse over there. And that's where we are, just northeast 2nd Avenue and northeast 4th Street in Miami, where the crowd right now is maintaining its peacefulness. It's just vocalizing their concerns right now, and the officers are here ready to respond if something else happens. You can see behind them just a phalanx of police officers on bicycles. You have the shields, City of Miami police right here with the shields. It's the front line. And police cars trying to make their way south here on 2nd Avenue for some time. So this appears to be where they were trying to head toward Bayside. You heard the mayor of Miami talking to Alina Machado earlier. They were aware of that. They were not going to let that happen. But here they are. And this is as far as they're being allowed to go right now, still blocks away from the bay. Once again, I'm hearing what sounds like some rocks being thrown. Now the bicycle police are coming out, and they appear to be more of a take charge type of force. They are using the bikes to spread people out, to set them back, and they're drawing another line.
And Tony, if you can hear if you can hear me right now. You said that it's peaceful out there, Tony. Tony, you said it's peaceful out there.
Say again, please.
Tony, I'm sorry. I know it's loud out there. You said it's peaceful out there, though. The protests that are happening right now.
It is fluctuated. Like I said, there were some rocks and chunks of concrete being thrown. NBC 6 are pushing us back. Yeah, it's pretty peaceful now. Pretty peaceful. They're just trying to push the line back again. It seems like that is the technique. They allow them to get up to here, and then they push them back if they start getting out of hand. Something did happen up there. They did get a little out of hand. And then this is the technique they're going to use. It's sort of a blocking technique. They're going to use the bikes to move the line further west. We're about to see that happen right in the center there. As another line comes up.
Now, Tony, you said earlier that it looked like it was calming down as far as the protesters out there, but from our vantage point, it still looks pretty fiery out there. It looks like a number of protesters. Any idea how many protesters are where you're at right now?
Yeah, like I said, I think just before this happened, I heard what sounded like more concrete hitting the road. And I think once that happens, they're responding very forcefully. These bikes are being used, as you can see, to push back the crowd. And now some are just sitting. And I don't know how long that's going to last, because if they want people to get back across 2nd Avenue Northeast, I think those bikes are going to do the job. They almost didn't.
Obviously, what we're looking at.
We'll see what happens next.
Right, and I think it'll be interesting, Tony, to see what happens when that curfew kicks in about 15 minutes or so. Authorities have made it clear that they want people to clear the streets, and they definitely want everybody home tonight. They don't want people out. That's why they established that curfew countywide in Miami-Dade County starting at 10 p.m. Tony, it looks like they're also trying to keep, as you said, people from heading over the Bayside. There you see police officers pushing the line to get back.
Pushing the line. Been a little bit more aggressive here.
And you can see they're moving again. It seems to be about increments of 5 yards. They're just pushing 5 yards back, 5 yards back. And there it goes again. Here comes another move. Yeah, just a few steps at a time. And, those bikes have some force to them.
Yeah, this is definitely a different technique that I've seen. I've never seen this technique used before, using their bikes. Usually it's their shields that they use, but they're using those bikes as somewhat as their shields in this particular tactic as far as trying to move back those protesters.
Right, it seems like these are the special officers that they sent into this area to flood that area to keep people from getting to Bayside. As the mayor said earlier, that they had received indications that they were headed toward Bayside.
Now you can see some people are throwing objects at the police. There was at least a liquid I saw thrown. And we're back where we were maybe 20 minutes ago, back on the west side of Northeast 2nd Avenue. It's sort of a give and take, an ebb and flow here. A crowd that was peaceful, and then all of a sudden it's not. And when it's not peaceful, the police are reacting to push them back. There's more rocks being thrown. You can hear it hitting here.
And Tony, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but can you give me an idea of just how many protesters are out there?
It's the center of the line where most of the activity is, not so much on the flanks. And then there's an object being thrown from behind the police lines, which is interesting.
Chief?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? This is Jawan.
Yes, I hear you now, John.
Okay, great. Chief Galena, what can you tell me about what's going on right now in the city?
So for the most part, the crowds have dispersed. We have pockets. We have given the order to disperse. We gave every opportunity for people to be able to protest peacefully. What we can't